Hey guys, welcome to another episode where we can understand in terms of designing multi-tenant AI systems, right? Like scaling intelligence across the customer's security point of view, modern systems, right? So this is another episode for modern systems real impact that any leader can add on, whether you're working for a company which is handling the complex voluminous big data or you're starting your own solutions, right? So, as more companies adopt AI platforms, the ability to serve obviously the multiple customers you're trying to cater to in a secure way, scalable way, and efficient way, it's not just nice to have, but it's a mandated necessity factor if you want to scale in AI world, right? Or any kind of platform for that matter. So in this episode, I'll break down what it really takes to build a multi-tenant AI systems, pulling insights from real-world architectures at AWS and from advanced multi-tenancy frameworks, right? So what is a multi-tenant AI for that matter? Like multi-tenancy is equal to, a single platform serving many customers or internal product teams with certain isolation, cost efficiency factors considered, and customization involved. Now, traditional multi-tenancy at the database or the app level doesn't necessarily solve unique ML challenges. Like some of the factors to consider is model reuse within specific logic or secure separation of embedding or your vector stores, right? The fair scheduling across the GPUs or inference pipelines. So, in terms of the core design challenges, right? One is the resource isolation versus utilization, data isolation and policy enforcement, traffic shaping, less the fair inference, and observability per tenant. Now, let's understand what some of these core design challenges that we need to consider. First, resource isolation versus utilization. Shared GPU model hosting, right? In any inference server, and auto scaling while sandboxing tenant limits. Next, data isolation of policy enforcement, right? Each tenant needs separate access control at IAM style level, whether in terms of AWS or GCP point of view, whatever. So, and also, if you consider multi-tenant vector databases, whether it's a V-Weight, a Quadrant, a Pinecone with different access tagging, how do you actually segregate for multi-tenants here? Now, the traffic shaping plus the fair inference, right? So, what kind of weighted queuing per tenant is introduced and token-based usage control, right? The again for per tenant SLAs that you need to manage with all kind of limiters. So, observability per tenant. Logs, traces, model metrics need tenant attribution. So dashboard slicing plus the alerts by tenant context, right? Again, when I say dashboard slicing, for each tenant context point of view, it's very uh, aggressively managed and granular level is very important where you can deep dive. Now, if you ask me, what does it mean in terms of the multi-tenant AI platform design, right? So let's understand different layers that we can think through when it comes to multi-tenant system. Let me share. So if you look at this, right, um, tenant identity layer, where you have API gateway and identity provider, in terms of SAML or any kind of OIDC or any other kind of identity management that you have. Then there is a session tagging for, again, tenant metadata point of view that propagates through different headers depending on the request handling, right? So you need to make sure it is differentiated for each tenant. Then there's inference orchestrator point of view, right? So queues incoming requests either through Kafka, SQS, right? What kind of a phase scheduler mechanism you have with your policy engine, and dynamically how are what kind of routes or how the routes are shared to or tenant dedicated model endpoints, right? So you need to make sure each tenant has a clear segregation with their queues incoming requests, right? Based on tenant dedicated model endpoints. Now, there need to be data isolation layer also. Each tenant's data, with its logs, embeddings, or fine-tuning sets, stored in access-controlled S3 buckets, vector DB, and again, it supports per index access enforcement, right? Monitoring and billing plane, in terms of a tenant scope metrics, the latency factors, the error rates, the token usage, uh, the metering stream to billing system, right? What kind of a custom or AWS cost explorer you have, and the patterns from research, right? That some of the patterns that we can consider here. There are different mechanisms between the Edge-MultiAI and different things where it actually considers the high performance scheduler using earliest deadline first, plus the model sharing across your different inference pods. Now, on device memory partitioning when it comes to Edge-MultiAI, right? What kind of a context aware QoS inference is considered across tenants? So, what kind of fairness, efficiency, and tenant aware orchestration is not, is not just about the cloud level, but it also applies to edge, API, and different compute layers, right? Overall, multi-tenant AI platforms, right, are the next layer of system design maturity. Whether you're running your, SaaS application or the GenAI application at the different scale internal platforms across your business suite, the architecture scopes that we have discussed and covered will help you balance the flexibility, safety, and scale. So let's also cover probably in the next some of the episodes what it takes to tackle the governance, compliance, and security in AI native environments. But in this episode on high level, I've covered the core design challenges, considering the resource isolation versus utilization, data isolation and policy enforcement, traffic shaping for fair inference, and observability per tenant point of view. So having said that, I think there are going to be more, maybe 3 or 4 more episodes, altogether 10 episodes for overall modern systems point of view, because literally every other company is moving towards big data plus AI wherever as needed. So again, in these modern system episode series, I've not covered any deep learning as such. This is for any engineering leader or founder or a system engineer or a software engineer having to understand what it takes to build a modern system on high level. Stay tuned. And yeah, just so you know, I'm going to cover some of the leadership frameworks playlists also. So I'll try my best in post in next few weeks. Thank you. So don't forget to subscribe and leave your comment.